Ask most retirees what they fear most financially, and many will say inflation, rising grocery prices, higher insurance premiums, increasing healthcare costs. And they're not wrong. Inflation absolutely matters. But what if I told you that one retirement mistake has destroyed more retirement plans than inflation itself? Because inflation affects everyone. But this mistake? It's often self-inflicted. And surprisingly, many intelligent retirees make it without even realizing it. The damage isn't immediate. It happens slowly, year after year. And over a 20 or 30-year retirement, the consequences can become far more expensive than inflation ever was. Today, we're going to uncover the retirement mistake that quietly costs more than inflation, why so many retirees fall into it, and most importantly, what practical steps can help prevent it. Because understanding this one mistake may be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars over your retirement lifetime. Inflation is easy to see. Every trip to the grocery store reminds us. Every insurance renewal reminds us. Every utility bill reminds us. And because inflation is visible, it receives most of the blame. But inflation isn't usually what causes retirement plans to fail. Many retirees adjust. They spend less, delay purchases, reduce discretionary expenses. The real problem is something much less obvious. And unlike inflation, this problem often starts with good intentions. Because retirement creates something many people haven't experienced for decades. Freedom. No alarm clocks, no bosses, no commute. And that freedom often creates a temptation. The temptation to spend retirement savings too aggressively during the early years. And that mistake, especially during the first 5 years, can create consequences that compound far longer than inflation itself. After decades of hard work, many retirees naturally want to enjoy life. And they should. But sometimes retirement excitement creates unintended consequences. A dream vacation, a new vehicle, home renovations, helping adult children, buying recreational toys. None of these decisions are necessarily wrong. The problem occurs when several large decisions happen close together, because retirement portfolios are designed to support decades of spending, not concentrated bursts of spending early on. And if markets happen to struggle during those years, retirees may be withdrawing larger amounts from shrinking portfolios, which creates a problem that inflation alone cannot match. This leads us to a concept many retirees never hear about: sequence of returns risk. It sounds complicated, but the idea is simple. Two retirees may experience identical average returns over 20 years, yet one can run out of money while the other thrives. Why? Timing. Poor markets early in retirement combined with withdrawals can permanently damage a portfolio, because losses hurt more when money is simultaneously leaving the account. And unlike inflation, sequence risk cannot easily be recovered. The portfolio has fewer dollars remaining to participate when markets recover, which means a temporary downturn can create permanent consequences. This is why many retirement professionals focus less on average returns and more on protecting those first years. Because early mistakes compound for decades. If you find value in this content, please like and subscribe. I really would appreciate it. One of the biggest surprises in retirement is that freedom itself can become expensive. After decades of working, many retirees feel like they've finally earned the right to enjoy life. And they have. But sometimes that excitement creates unintended consequences. The dream vacation, the RV purchase, the kitchen remodel, helping adult children, buying a second vehicle. Individually, none of these are mistakes. The problem is timing, because several major expenses occurring during the first 5 years can permanently increase withdrawal rates. And once spending habits are established, they often become expectations. What begins as celebration slowly becomes lifestyle. And lifestyle inflation inside retirement can become far more expensive than inflation itself. Because inflation affects prices, lifestyle inflation affects behavior, and behavior compounds. Another reason this retirement mistake becomes so dangerous is because life doesn't stop changing. Healthcare expenses don't remain constant. They evolve. A new prescription, a specialist recommendation, dental work, vision care, additional testing. These expenses rarely arrive all at once. Instead, they quietly accumulate. And retirees who are already withdrawing aggressively from their portfolios often find themselves with less flexibility when healthcare costs begin rising. That's when stress appears, not because healthcare suddenly exploded, but because too much money was already committed elsewhere. And that's what makes protecting flexibility so important. Because flexibility gives retirees options, and options become incredibly valuable later in retirement. Interestingly, successful retirees aren't always the wealthiest retirees. They're often the most adaptable. Because retirement isn't static. Markets change, healthcare changes, taxes change, insurance changes, life changes. And the people who thrive are usually the people who adjust. They review spending every year. They maintain emergency reserves. They avoid making multiple major decisions at the same time. And they understand something incredibly important. Retirement isn't won by creating a perfect plan. It's won by building a flexible plan, because flexibility allows retirees to respond to whatever the future brings. And over 20 or 30 years, adaptability often becomes more valuable than chasing every extra percentage point of return. That's why the retirement mistake that costs more than inflation isn't inflation itself. It's losing flexibility. Because once flexibility disappears, small problems become much larger problems. And preserving flexibility may be one of the most powerful financial decisions retirees can make. Inflation matters, but the retirement mistake that often costs more than inflation is failing to protect the early years of retirement and refusing to adapt as circumstances change. The good news? This problem is manageable. Review your spending every year. Maintain emergency reserves. Avoid concentrating large purchases early in retirement. Remain flexible with withdrawals. And remember that retirement success isn't about perfection. It's about making thoughtful decisions consistently over time. Because retirement is not won by avoiding every mistake. It's won by adapting before small problems become big ones. And if you're already retired, ask yourself this question. What one adjustment could improve your retirement plan today? Because sometimes small changes today create enormous benefits tomorrow. If you found this video helpful, like and subscribe to The Wealth Perspective for more retirement planning, inflation, and retirement income strategies. I really appreciate you watching the video. Thank you.